Show some love. Bless the journey now. What a perfect title. That's going to be the title of my next talk, maybe. So this month, we have been reviewing the basic foundations of the Science of Mind teachings. The first week, we talked about the thing itself, which is how Ernest Holmes described God. And I talked about base camp, that we can always come back to our base camp when we're out on a journey. The second week was the way it works, and Jerry spoke so beautifully about how big are you dreaming? How big is your God? Last week I did what it does, and I shared the story of the modern dance pioneer Ted Shawn. And today is how it works. So we kind of put it all together. And one of the ways it works is being open at what we call in this philosophy, being open at the top. Think about that. Being open at the top. Our founder, Dr. Holmes, consistently reminded us that Science of Mind must remain a living teaching, shorn of dogmatism, freed from superstition, open at the top for greater illumination, unbound and unlimited, yet grounded in timeless spiritual principles. Amen is right. He cautions us against closing our minds through fear or uncertainty. Instead, he urges us to stop, look, listen, and check in with ourselves. Is this the truth? Is this my truth? Dr. Holmes gave us an amazing vision of a spiritual path that is never finished, never fixed, and never closed. Hear that? To be open at the top is to remain teachable, curious, and receptive to the unfolding presence of spirit in every season of our life. You know, January is a time when we symbolically wipe the slate clean and we welcome the new, as you sang so well. But we also know the past doesn't just disappear, but rather it becomes the soil from which we can emerge the new. So be open at the top means asking Spirit, what is Spirit seeking to express as me, as us in the year ahead? In a world that often feels unpredictable, this teaching reminds us that life itself is creative, responsive, and expansive. The infinite mind of God never runs out of ideas, possibilities, or ways to bless us. The divine current is always moving forward, urging us to grow deeper in wisdom and rise higher in love. So instead of trying to swim against the current, I don't know, maybe you never have done that, let's align our divine self and go with the natural flow of the current. Spirituality is about living a consciousness that is fluid, dynamic, and willing to be surprised. I invite us all to greet this new year with receptivity, and remember, being open at the top is to trust and have faith that life is still creating, spirit is still guiding, and love is still the deepest truth of who we are. Amen. Despite what it looks like, we've got to come back to love. So this year, let's begin with a simple yet transformative orientation. Consciousness first. Consciousness first means recognizing that we are a field of infinite consciousness. And that's how it works. You know, our thoughts, our emotions, our circumstances, and the conditions move through our consciousness, but they're not the source of who we are. I've said this before. We are awareness itself, the vast, boundless presence through which all experience arises. We have to remember that whatever we're facing, Whatever we're healing, whatever we're creating in our lives, consciousness comes first. I'm going to remind you that you are each emanations of the divine presence, sharing the same infinite nature, the same unlimited qualities, the same creative intelligence. You know, we use often here the idea of a wave in the ocean. A wave is never separate from the ocean. It's the easiest way to think about this big thing, the thing itself. And a wave contains all the qualities of the ocean. Even a drop of the ocean contains all the qualities of the ocean. So each of us, each of you, contain all the qualities of that divine infinite intelligence. Wow. That's kind of mind-blowing, I think. I did a workshop at the beginning of January called Living Intentionally. And so I invite each of us to begin a new year consciously choosing to live from the awareness of your connection to the ocean of the divine within you. Not occasionally, not just when you come in on Sunday, but as a way of life. An embodiment. To be open at the top. That's what it means to live intentionally. And, oh my gosh, be willing to forgive ourselves when we forget. Do you ever forget who you are? Let's affirm, I remain open and receptive for the infinite to surprise me.
I remain open and receptive for the infinite to surprise me.
So as we begin this year together, let's hold this simple idea in our heart. What does life want to express as me or become as me? What is mine to do to create a more peaceful world? How can I stay open at the top? Think about that. Just, how can I stay open at the top? Because we know when we're closed. We know it. We feel it when we're closed. Our heart shuts down. We get angry quicker. We judge a lot. We complain all the time. We're Debbie Downer, remember her? Oh, yeah. Saturday Night Live. Oh boy.
Always having a pity party.
She's having a pity party. So intend consciously how you go into the world every day. How do you leave your house every day? Be conscious of how you do that. The great Michael Bernard Beckwith has said that many people suffer from intention deficit disorder. Rather than being guided from within, they are often controlled by external circumstances, people, places, events, and conditions. I mean, they're there, but instead of being pulled by an inner vision, they're pushed around by outer demands. So intention and being open the top is the activation of our consciousness in a specific direction. It's a deliberate alignment of awareness with what we are here to become. And when we live with intention, priorities begin to shift. What truly matters to us will rise to the surface. And what no longer is essential will begin to fade into the background. With intention, our perceptions change, and as our perception changes, our experience changes. We begin to see life differently, and therefore we live life differently. Through intention and being open at the top, we're vibrationally drawn by a field of possibility that already exists in the quantum realm. Peace already exists. Love already exists. to remember that, and as a spiritual movement here at the Centers for Spiritual Living, we have a global vision. And we try to assert our embodiment of this vision, which is a world that works for everyone in all of creation, period. It invites us, this vision, to live as a global family, honoring the interconnectedness of all life, embracing diversity, and choosing love and connection, always. That also calls us to responsibility, the R word. Oh, I'm not responsible. Well, you are. How you show up. To be open at the top is to release outdated practices and fear-based thinking, to honor your wisdom while welcoming new vision, and to live from the eternal truth that love, again, is forever creating, forever becoming, and forever expressing through each of us. We just got to turn that on. You know, the image we use a lot here is holding the high watch. Like when we have practitioners are here to hold the high watch in consciousness for this center, for anything that happens that we do here. And the high watch is about going to that mountaintop consciousness, we call it. And the great Charles Fillmore, who was one of the co-founders of the Unity movement, said this: a mountain represents an exalted state of mind, where the divine plan may be perceived and unfolded. It is a state of spiritual realization. The high mountain to which personality carries us is in our spiritual uplift of consciousness of power over mortal thought in all its earthly avenues of expression. Going up to the mountain to pray means elevating our thoughts and our aspirations to the spiritual viewpoint. Oh, let's just rise to that mountaintop. Woo, holding the high watch. And remember, last week I said, Emerson, that great quote, you got to get your bloated nothingness out of the way of the divine circuitry. Remember? How it works. In Science of Mind, we speak of God not as a present, not as something up in the sky that is taking our, you did that wrong, and taking notes there. It's not an outside presence, but rather a universal energy, love, vibration that resonates in the very core of each of us. It's a creative, powerful force. May the force be with you. Right? And all we need to do is have the humility and the willingness to step outside of our limited self and have a desire to know that divine wisdom, to open to a new idea. One of my favorite Ernest Holmes quotes that I use all the time when I get a little off track: I cleanse the window of my mind, that it may become a mirror reflecting inspiration from the Most High. That helps me so much. So let's take a moment and just take a breath with me and go within. To know God, the divine, the holy presence, the one, the thing itself, the infinite mind, whatever you want to call it. To know it is to know yourself in your highest and purest form. It is to glimpse that part of you that exists beyond your limitation, beyond your story, beyond your fear and doubts and critical mind. When we are aligned with it, the thing itself, the beloved, We can feel it. Breathe deeply. Feel that. Just be willing to. Feel the divine spirit pulsating through the love in your heart and the satisfaction of your soul. Right now. Right now. When we're tapped into this God, this love force within us, we want for nothing because we have everything. Imagine all my needs are met right now. And the process of knowing this divine presence does not only take place in the mind, but in our heart. And we have to welcome it, surrender to it, and be in gratitude for it. So just take a quiet moment of gratitude. And this year, keep your intentions close to your heart. Stay focused. Return to base camp often. Return to love. Return to love. Return to love. And take a deeper breath. And come back. And remember that all the practitioners here and their names and phone numbers and everything are on the back of the bulletin are here to support you in your spiritual evolution. So this year, work with a practitioner, call me, work with a coach, a mentor. Practice coming from a beginner's mind and be open at the top. Our built-in intention as spiritual beings having a human incarnation is actually to flower into our Christ consciousness. When we are open at the top, we allow the light of the divine, love, wisdom, and power to shine uniquely through us. And this uniqueness is your superpower. Superpower! Yeah. Because when we do our inner work through spiritual practices and are open at the top, we create a new spiritual metabolism. And you know what? That supercharged metabolism burns up negative calories. Burns up that, what Eddie Watkins said, stinking thinking. And it raises our vibration to a whole new level. And it will stay there and support you. That new spiritual metabolism. Does anybody want that? Yes. Are you in?
I'm in.
Yeah. Are you really, really in?
I'm really, really in.
Are you really, really, really in?
I'm really, really in.
And so it is.
Yes.